شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين وصلى اللهم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh, and welcome once again to our series Reflecting over the Quran. Reflecting over the Quran is a very, very important matter in the life of a Muslim. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded us to contemplate the meanings of the Quran. Allah Azza wa Jal says, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. Allah Azza wa Jal says that do they not contemplate the meanings contained in the Quran, or has locks been set upon their hearts? And so if you are a Muslim who has a living relationship with the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, reciting it, trying to understand the basic meanings contained therein, referring to the relied upon tafasir such as Ibn Kathir and the likes, looking at the meanings, internalizing it and practicing upon it, then this is a good sign. This is a sign that your heart is hayyun, that your heart is alive, and it is a heart which yearns for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and is close to Allah Azza wa Jal. And so our objective with the series is to instill with us the consciousness of reflecting over the meanings of the Quran with the intention to implement it in our lives. And in today's verse, we are looking at Surah Al-Maa'idah verse 90 to 91. Allah Azza wa Jal says, بَعْدَ أَنْ أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا إنما الخمر والميسر والأنصاب والأزلام رجس من عمل الشيطان فاجتنبوه لعلكم تفلحون إنما يريد الشيطان أن يوقع بينكم العداوة والبغضاء في الخمر والميسر ويصدكم عن ذكر الله وعن الصلاة فهل أنتم منتهون. Allah Azza wa Jal says, O you who believe. And as many of the companions said, that whenever you hear this phrase and this nidah, this calling out in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then lend your ear. For either you are going to be commanded with some form of command, or you are going to be warned from some type of prohibition. So Allah Azza wa Jal says, O you who believe, intoxicants, gambling, idols, and drawing lots for decisions are all evil of Satan's handiwork. Fajtanibuhu, so shun it and abstain from it, so that you may be successful. When the Prophet ﷺ came to Medina, a group of people approached him. And this group of people used to drink and consume from the money which they would acquire by way of gambling. And so they asked concerning this. They asked concerning this affair of khamr. And the Quran records this. وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْخَمْرِ وَالْمَيْسِرِ. They asked you concerning al-khamr, intoxicants, and maysir, gambling. And Allah Azza wa Jalla said, say, O Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, in it is great sin, but it also contains some form of benefit. And so they say that this is a concession given to us. And we will consume maysir, we will continue gambling, and we will continue drinking, and thereafter we will seek forgiveness. So this group of people who came to the Prophet ﷺ were believers. And as we know, the prohibition of alcohol went through many stages in Islam. The next stage, up until a man came for the Maghrib prayer, and he began reciting, قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ أَعْبُدُ مَا تَعْبُدُونَ. Right? And the man said, say to the disbelievers that I worship that which you worship. And the verse should be read vice versa. لا أعبد ما تعبدون. That I do not worship that which you worship. And so the verse was revealed, يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تقربوا الصلاة وأنتم سكارى. O you who believe, do not approach the prayer whilst you are in a state of intoxication. And so people would drink up until the moment that the waqt would enter, and then they would approach salah and they would understand what they were saying. And they would continue in the state up until the verse which we recited in the beginning was revealed. Surah Al-Maa'idah verse 90-91, where Allah Azza wa Jal said, O believers, intoxicants, gambling, idols, and drawing lots for decisions are all evil of Satan's handiwork. So shun them so that you may be successful. Up until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, فَهَلْ أَنْتُمْ مُنْتَهُونَ. So will you then not abstain? And as soon as the believers heard this verse, they said, Intahina. They said, we have stopped with drinking and gambling and all the things which Allah Azza wa Jal prohibited in this verse. And so we see that when Iman was firmly entrenched in the hearts of believers, we find immediate response to the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we find immediate response to the prohibitions which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prohibited. And so the question we have today, for each and every single person out there who is struggling with drug abuse and alcoholism, and this person is a Muslim, we ask the question, فَهَلْ أَنْتُمْ مُنْتَهُونَ. Will you then not abstain? The month of Ramadan is the perfect platform for change. And it is a time wherein you can redeem your state and your position with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So take this as an opportunity to seek forgiveness and leave of sins. And we ask the question, فَهَلْ أَنْتُمْ مُنْتَهُونَ. Will you then not abstain? نكتفي بهذا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.